Okay.
There we go. Hi, how are you doing, Linda?
I'm very well. Lisa, how are you?
I'm fine. Just posted the light language thing this morning. I haven't shared it on social media yet because I had a doctor's appointment I just got back from. Barely in time for this. So, a lot of people requested that we, discuss or we interview. And by the way, hi, Erik. The first responders from 9/11.
Yeah, I worked with a lot of them. Myself and another gal were doing these. Her name is Renee Rogers, and she's involved with
Oh, that sounds
Erik as
familiar.
well. Yeah. Anyway, she and I were doing them for quite a while and bringing them in. She did all the research. She knew everything, and I just brought them in and channeled them. And she would compare the information I was getting with the information that she had from all her research.
Cool.
So that was kind of. And there's right away, Erik said to me, as soon as you showed up, he's going, "Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom. Hi, Mom."
Oh, hi, sweetie. How you doing? I love you.
He said, "Yeah, but you forgot about me for a minute."
No, I did right away. I said, "Hi, Erik," but you're right. Okay, because I was frazzled because this thing was Zoom. This thing. All right.
He says, "It's okay, Mom. It's okay, Mom."
Thank you.
Anyway, so let's see what we have here. There's a woman by the name of Monica, and she works with the responders that are crossed over. And
is she
what she does,
or is she here on this side?
Nope. Okay. She's on the other side. And she died in, I think it was 98 or 99, when the explosion in the, what is it called? The transportation building.
Okay.
Escapes me. Anyway, there was an explosion there in the garage, and she worked there in the garage. And her name is Monica, and she usually brings them in. So we have her here with us. So she's
Hi,
here,
Monica.
and she's willing. And she always comes in like a gray suit with a red belt, and she always has a clipboard with her.
Oh,
so,
how cute! What do you have written on that clipboard? Anything, or is it just a prop?
No, she says it's everything, and it's the Port Authority, the explosion in the Port Authority, and I think that was in 97 or 99, 98.
It doesn't make a difference.
Anyway. Yeah, I think she's here anyway. So she said, "Shoot, we'll find you some answers." And Erik's with her. Erik's hanging out with her.
Awesome.
He's kissing her on the cheek. He's going like this on her cheek.
Oh, that's so sweet. Hey, Jillian is going to get jealous. But no, a lot of people ask me about, it really affected me emotionally to see the man falling head down in suit and tie flying up. So a lot of people want to know how he's doing. Just what happened, what went through his mind, and anything.
Okay, so hang on. What she's saying to us is that there's so many of them jump from there, not just one.
Oh yeah, I know. Oh my God. But I want to,
right.
For some reason that emotionally impacted me. Of course the whole thing did, but.
Yeah. She wants us to know that all of those that were flying out the window, jumping out the window, their souls were removed before their bodies made contact with physical items, like she's saying. She's saying they escaped as soon as they left the building. Their soul left their body. Their body did not, or their soul didn't go through the trauma of how we as humans could see what was happening. Is what she's saying. And this was it all had a purpose. It all had a purpose of uniting. She's saying uniting everybody emotionally. She says no matter where a person was in the world, she says not just the US, but in the world, this united us all in the same exact emotion. She said, even those who were responsible for this event were affected emotionally.
In what way?
We all were carrying.
Were they gleeful? What kind of emotional? What kind of emotional reaction did they have?
the emotional reaction, she said, was those of us, in the sense that just like, and she's bringing Hitler into the picture right now, just like all the atrocities that were done by Hitler, so too are these atrocities done, and the atrocities are done for the greater good and not for the individual. And also that, with the exception, as she's saying, with the exception of just a few had this in their life contract. A few, she's saying, got caught up. She says that the best way to put it is wrong place, wrong time. Right. And so they took that sacrifice. They took that sacrifice is what she's saying. But the emotion that was felt throughout, no matter where you were, put everybody, every human being in what she's saying is a like vibration. And she said this wasn't just for the moment. She said this was for days and days. And she said, believe it or not, this helped because everybody was locked in one emotion. And that emotion, she's pointing out the different emotions. Lack of understanding.
Yeah.
Okay.
Like, why the hell? That kind of thing?
Exactly. Right. Lack of understanding, the emotion of pain and sorrow and loss. And she says it's hard to put into words, human words. She's saying in human words to describe that particular vibration that was going on at the time, and how that vibration lifted us as one unit during that time. One unit during that time.
Well, even the enemy, I mean, I shouldn't say enemy, even the perpetrators? I mean, what kind of emotions did they feel? The ones responsible.
She says you have to realize that those that were responsible also were being led to do what they were doing for this purpose.
Oh, for spiritual
contract.
Purpose. Yeah. Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
And just like most of us who are living out our spiritual contract, we don't know and don't realize why we're doing the things that we're doing. We are given, she's using the words, we are given oftentimes false sense of godism. I don't know that word, but a false sense of godism. In other words, we are God and we are deciding, again, she's bringing Hitler, just like Hitler did. I am the I am. And that's the mind, whether it's the mind because of this human life schooling that they did.
Yeah.
Okay. Or the pedestal syndrome, she's calling it, pedestal syndrome.
Okay.
That they put themselves on a pedestal, they know what's right, they know whether it's their intention is to accomplish something far beyond what the true spiritual event was meant to accomplish.
Okay.
So if that makes sense to me, what she's saying.
No, it definitely does. Now, why didn't that feeling of unity and the being on the same vibrational level, why didn't it last forever? I wish it would.
She says
it was awesome. It's just like around Christmas time, everybody's nice to each other, etc. It's like, why can't we be nice to each other all the time like that? You know?
Because we're humans and we are born into forgetfulness.
Well, I know that's my theory, and I'm sticking to it because I'm real forgetful. But yeah, that's all right. Now,
and that's why other things. She says that's why other things continue to evolve and to happen to bring us back again and again and again. Because she's saying you have to remember that when we came here as humans, we came here cloaked.
Yeah, that's right. Spiritual amnesia, right?
Yes.
Okay,
yes.
so
and she says that as a human, that's what's happening to us, and that's why she said, but you will be surprised how many millions, she's saying, not hundreds, but how many millions are still locked into that and have gained, and how this has become a catalyst for their personal spiritual awakening.
She says that.
We're not just talking about the U.S., we're talking about worldwide.
Yeah, it's like what I went through in the tundra, and now I'm brushing up on internal medicine and survival medicine, and I'm going to volunteer as a physician for the Red Cross as soon as I, brushed up enough. Yeah, so when we get to that vibrational level, do we drop all the way back down, or do we just drop almost, and it's a stair step with each of these events?
She says it really depends on the path of the individual.
I mean, I'm talking about, I guess, as a collective, but true, that's true.
Okay. Yeah, she says it really depends on the path of the individual. However, she says nothing can be undone that has been done.
Ah,
And
yeah.
and that vibration that was put out there is there. It's still there. That vibration that went on during this event is still there, and it's still working, and it's working in areas that we as humans could not possibly understand or see, but trust that it's working. Everything is still working.
Okay. Now back to the falling man. Erik, can you bring him in? Maybe he could speak as be a spokesperson for those that did make that difficult decision to jump.
Okay. Do you know what his name is?
No, I have no idea.
Okay. Alrighty. So Erik, what do we got here? Hang on. I'm kind of getting the name Danny or Daniel might be part of his.
Okay.
His name.
Oh, well, maybe it's not known.
Okay.
Well, probably is, but okay.
Yeah, I'm sure it is.
Yeah.
Okay, this is what he's saying. He's saying that what happened to him before he jumped out that window. And he's going two things. Two things happened before I jumped. Number one, the fear of burning.
Yeah.
Fear of having my body burn. He said that was the main course for all of us. I think that did jump because we didn't want to die that way.
Yeah.
That fear of the burning. He makes me feel like the flesh. And secondly, he says it's as if I received a gift of knowledge at that moment, that this is what I was supposed to do. That this is what I was supposed to do, and that fear did not have to be involved in it, that this was my release. That it was like a knowing just came over him that this is what he was supposed to do.
Did you get a knowing that you would not suffer, that your soul would be removed from your body before you had impact?
He's saying that no, that wasn't a conscious thought that I had at the time. Okay. What I had was a simple knowing that this is what I was to do, that this is, okay. And he said, it's the higher self telling you, the higher self telling you that this is, he says, without the knowledge, it's the higher self telling you, this is what you need to do. You need to do this. And he's also saying that, looking back on the whole situation, he said, if you realize that 90% of people who die from fire don't die because they caught fire. They die because they breathe the smoke of the fire. Yes. So therefore, the flesh doesn't burn.
Yeah.
But for impact reasons, for impact vibrational reasons, we needed to jump.
Exactly. I can get that, because so that was the means to the end. That's why you got this knowing, this is what I have to do, because on a higher self level, you felt like images and videos of people jumping out of buildings would impact the collective more than if they were inside dying of smoke inhalation.
Yes, where nobody could visually see other than those that were there.
Exactly. So so tell me about that day. You were going about your merry business in the office, and
he said it was just a regular working day, nothing great. He's saying how he got there early, how he went to the canteen, he got himself a cup of coffee, and I'm hearing the word like a croissant or a breadstick or something. Took it back to his desk, he says. He took it back to the office. I get the feeling that he was alone in a room or in a cubicle type situation, because I feel him kind of like being enclosed.
Okay.
And then what he's saying to me, he says, I started actually feeling the rumbling. He's telling me he felt rumbling, rumbling. He felt like rumbling. So I don't know if what he's saying. It feels like maybe what he's saying is he could hear the airplane coming.
Yeah, and maybe the vibrations from the engines and stuff. Yeah, okay, and its approach.
Yeah, before impact or before collapse. He's saying before collapse. He's saying he could hear the rumbling. And if you wanted to go into conspiracy theories, this could be read either way.
Yeah.
You know.
I will definitely get to that. And then the plane went through the building. What was that like for you and you as a spokesman for others?
Well, he's telling me that where the plane the impact was, it makes me feel like it was below him.
Okay.
Like he was above it. Yeah,
Okay.
it was below him and he was above it. He's also saying that it took like 35 or 40 minutes before the decision was made to go out the window.
But when it blasted through below you, what the hell did you think?
He said, we didn't really think. We just were, he says, as you must imagine, we were just like, Eric's yelling at me, just say it, Linda. It's like, what the fuck, right? You know, and he says that that's exactly how they were feeling. Immediately fear immediately, he's saying it can completely consumes you because you know that what has just happened is beyond any explanation and beyond, you've just felt like it was beyond a way to escape from. There was no way to escape from it. Hang on a minute. Makes me feel like other people joined him at that time.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
He's also saying a lot of people immediately went underneath their desks.
Oh, like that's gonna help.
Yeah. Right, but they didn't know what was happening.
Yeah. Well, were y'all able to see, like, on your phones, any news? Did you find out what had happened in that 30 to 40 minutes, or did you call your loved ones and what's going on, or goodbye, or things like that?
No, he feels like there was no contact with anybody outside of who was with him in that building, so where he was on the floor that he was on.
Yeah.
And I don't know where the plane impact, but I'm getting like 86.
I don't know.
Like I feel like he was on the 80s. I don't know how many floors there are, but I'm hearing 86. I'm hearing like 86. Yeah. So I think he might have been on the 86th floor because I'm hearing that word 86.
Okay.
And I'm not sure where the impact went in.
So he didn't try to call anybody on the phone? I mean, 30 to 40 minutes, it seems like some of you guys would have done that, right?
I don't know. He makes me feel like they weren't able to get out with their phones.
Oh,
it's almost like
yeah.
Right. And he's making me feel like it wasn't that we didn't attempt to communicate. We were unable to communicate. That's how he makes me feel, that they were unable to communicate for some reason.
All right. Now, probably some of them were able to. I don't know. But when you passed, all of you guys, and this includes maybe we can get a spokesman for well, first of all, anything that you, as a spokesperson for those who jumped, anything else you want to add?
He says, it's making my heart, squeezing my heart.
Oh.
If the biggest message that we want to convey as a collective, he's saying, as a collective, is that as humans sees what has happened, as a human sees what has happened, we gave our lives for the collective.
I was just going to say, thank you so much for your sacrifice, really.
Yes. They gave their lives. And he's saying it all makes sense to us once we crossed over.
Yes.
He said we could see and we understood once we crossed over.
Yeah, you realize that, wow, I signed up for this.
Exactly.
Brave
exactly.
souls that you are, man. Oh, okay. So
Yes.
can we have a
He's
spokesperson?
saying,
Oh, go ahead. Go ahead.
he's saying, he's just thanking you. He's thanking you for keeping this alive. He said, because this will get everybody thinking once again about all the sacrifices that were made that day and continue to be made with other people dying from the causes of this.
Oh, I know.
And they will continue.
Yeah, that's been
He says,
a very recent thing in the news, these people.
yes.
But and we will talk about that too. Monica, are you going to be the spokesperson for the first responders? No, I guess I really want one of the first responders to, or somebody who is willing to speak from the fire department, or any of the first responders to come forward and speak for that collective.
Okay, so she's going to bring somebody in. He's here and he's saying hello, Elisa.
Hello. Thank you for
Hello.
your sacrifice for the collective also. All of you. Yeah.
Yes, he says you're very welcome. Humanity's welcome. He says he must be like a captain or something, because he said, yes, I lost my men. He's saying my men. He's saying I lost many men that day. And many more are coming. He said state of confusion to answer your question. So evidently you have a question that's asking him exactly where was his mind when all this happened.
Yes,
and
when you got the call, what was the call? Was it like there's been an explosion, or was it the aircrafts went through the whatever the buildings?
Okay, he knew that an airplane hit the first tower.
Okay.
Okay, that's the call. And then he makes me feel like the word went throughout. Okay, so he had to make the phone call to alert all the other stations and all the other, well, they have numbers for them, all the other ladders.
Okay.
Yeah, so he's naming off all these different numbers that were called, the very first responders that went out. He makes me feel like many of them arrived before he actually arrived at the site, because he was kind of more or less a coordinator. And as a matter of fact, he's telling me that he actually didn't get to the site until after the second plane hit.
Did you feel when you got the call, did you think it was like a small, private plane, or did you know that these were big planes, airliners?
Yeah, they knew. In fact, he's making me feel like they were alerted even before one hit the plane, that they were being alerted that the planes were there and incoming, and they weren't supposed to be there. So it's almost like he knew that they were alerted to a potential problem.
Yeah.
Because of the planes. I'm asking him who alerted him. How did he get that alerting? Phone calls. He said their phones started ringing off the hook.
Oh God.
And actually, he's making me feel like actually before the first person that alerted him actually, before he got off the phone with that person, and the first impact was made.
Okay.
So he knew that it was an airliner. It wasn't a small craft. He says he knew it was an airliner because somebody was on the phone. I'm asking him, was this another fire department or police officer? I'm hearing the name Captain, I don't know, Captain Jacob or something. Sounds
so
like
another
Jacob.
captain of the fire department or police. Okay.
Yeah.
What was your emotions when you found out that an airliner impacted one of the World Trade Center buildings?
He says I immediately knew it was an attack.
Ah, okay. That's I was going to ask that too. Were
Yeah,
you stunned? Were you fearful? Did you just have this disbelief?
all of the above. He said all of the above.
Yeah.
Um, I guess he was there when the Port Authority, that building got hit.
Oh, wow. Okay.
He makes me feel like he was a very young man during that time,
Okay.
because that would have been like 20 years earlier, I think. So he makes me feel like he was a very young man, but he's telling me that flashes of that whole event
Oh, gosh.
started coming back to him.
Oh. How did you?
And he said that was my intuition telling me that there was more to this
Yeah.
than right than an
Okay.
accident. He
Than
says,
just a wayward plane, or
exactly.
pilot with a heart attack or something. How did you actually die? What was the cause of your death?
He makes me feel like he was in the South Tower. I don't know which one went down first, but he actually makes me feel like he was on the ground floor of the building. An impact. He's making me feel
Okay.
impact.
Oh, but from when it
Impact.
crumbled, when the collapse happened?
Yes.
Is that
Yes.
how did
Yeah.
most of the? Oh, go ahead.
Stairwell. He's telling me he was in a stairwell.
Okay. What were you trying to
Okay.
do? To save people?
Yes.
Did
Yes.
you
All
know
of us.
that the building could collapse? I mean, did that enter your mind at all before?
He said, no, that didn't enter our minds at all. What entered our minds was to get as many people evacuated as we possibly could. And of course, elevators were not working. And
Yeah.
he says, you're talking about hundreds and hundreds of people,
Gosh.
and hundreds of people who are absolutely scared out of their minds. The chaos, he's saying that so much chaos, so much fear. Our main objective is what our job is, and our job is to go in when everybody else is coming out.
Oh gosh. Did you feel like you have a really big chance of dying? I mean, did you feel that I'm
Yes.
probably not going to survive? And you still went
No,
in.
he says no, he said no, that the fact that I wouldn't survive didn't really enter my mind.
Okay.
He says, the fact that many would probably, or many would not survive entered my mind.
Okay.
It didn't enter my mind on a personal level. He says, we are trained to detach ourselves from our own personal emotion of who we are and what we are as a human being when these things happen.
Wow.
Because he's saying you almost learn that your sense of being mechanical at that point.
Like a robot almost. Yeah.
Yeah, you don't really think about your own personal life. You don't really think about the lives of the families that you would leave behind if you die at that moment. He said, you just think about the people that you were there to save. That's your job. That's what you think about, and that's what you feel.
How many people do you think you first responders saved? I mean, more or less.
He's saying thousands.
Oh God, oh my God. And how many of the first responders actually died?
There were over 300 that lost their lives.
Oh goodness. Did most of them die during the collapse?
Yes.
Oh,
yes. Yes. And he said since then, there have been almost equal deaths from the side effects.
Oh, and maybe PTSD, suicide, maybe some of them.
That are here with us now.
Yeah.
He says that are here with us now that have crossed because of the side effects of search and rescue, he's calling it, the search and rescue.
Okay. The side effects, you mean, what do you mean side effects?
Breathing the toxic airs.
Okay, the toxic air. What toxins were inhaled? Where'd that come from, I wonder? Just the building?
He's saying that,
yeah,
it's from the building, the chemical, what is it called? The chemical, components, it's kind of the chemical components of everything combined together, the steel, the concrete, the
Yeah.
glues,
Oh.
all the chemicals that are used to create the concrete that built the building. All of those were broken down and made airborne. And
Yeah.
so that which was to create a solid structure is now being breathed in. And those are attacking the immune system of those who are breathing them. And he's saying, even though after a period of time people were wearing masks, the masks were just not protective enough.
Well, I was going to ask, did you wear protective masks that that have prevented?
Not then. We didn't know they were going to collapse. We didn't know.
Oh yeah.
that this was going to happen. We didn't know what would cause that this breakage of these buildings that coming down would cause. I mean, that's not something that you think about when you're going in to rescue people.
Well, it seems like just the smoke alone, you would have put on a respirator, knowing that there's like gas.
No, we had
all that.
Right. Oh, he's saying yes. We had those.
Oh yeah.
Right. We had those available to us, and we would use those in the event of fire. What else is he saying? Okay, so what he's showing me is as the dust began to fall from the crushing of the buildings, they were able to put them on, because he's actually showing me him taking off his and putting it on other people, like sharing the oxygen they're like oxygen tanks that they were breathing. Mm-hmm. It was like he's showing me sharing it, taking it up. So because people couldn't breathe, they literally couldn't breathe.
Oh God. All right. So when y'all transit, anything else you want to talk about how the all the first responders reacted, what they thought, anything else that you think might be of value for us to know?
Okay, he's saying that all the first responders acted appropriately according to the training that they went through. Nobody could have prepared them for this. I was not prepared for this. Nobody was prepared for this. He's also showing me an image of them all joining together.
Yes,
all those that died that particular day, how the souls all traveled together. It was like they were all traveling together.
With civilians and first responders.
Yes.
And the terrorists, right? Did the terrorists also join the group?
Yes.
And how was that meeting? It was a little awkward. What the hell did you do to me?
No, because you have to understand that these are souls that are moving. They're not human beings that are moving. Yeah. They don't see a nationality. They don't see a color. They don't see.
No. I mean, what they did, that the terrorists caused the death of so many people, including first responders. How was that?
It was their sole mission.
Okay.
It was their sole mission, because just like those that lives died on that day, for instance, the ones that you're picking out that, went out the window, so too did they choose that path, just as the perpetrators chose that path. So they did what their soul was meant to do. He said, you have to realize, and Erik is chiming on this too, Mom. You have to realize that once the soul leaves the physical being, it doesn't think, see, or feel what the humans see.
Exactly.
The humanity or the human part think and feel, like we do that are left behind. The soul doesn't have that emotion in it. It only knows what its intention was and why it chose to play a part in that.
So on the perpetrator's part, no remorse, not even initially. And on the civilians and first responders part, no resentment, anger, or anything like that, even initially, right?
No, it was just like, oh, we're home.
Okay. There's a way that you fold a dollar bill, and you may have seen this, where it looks like the Twin Towers and smoke coming out of them. I mean, it really is uncanny.
Yeah, it
What is
is.
that? Yeah, why? Is that because, yeah, really, explain. I don't know. Eric, you
Yeah,
might know
he
this.
said he's also saying there's a way to fold, there's a way to fold the dollar bill so that the little triangle with the eye
Yeah,
is looking at you, right?
yeah.
And he said this all has to do with, okay, how do I say this? The pre-planning of, okay, so what Eric is saying is, Mom, it's kind of like what you just went through. Had you accepted certain steps in your life prior to that event, then that event may not have had to happen.
Mm-hmm.
So be true of Earth people. If they were to perform certain things or reach a certain point of enlightenment and love, then certain things would not have had to transpire. But since we didn't, since we were still, and he's saying still under the control, and he's like, I could see
Yeah.
Earth and I could see a finger on top of it, still in control. Again, we have to get back to raising vibrations. The vibrations were not high enough, so this event went through. So these were pre-predicted, and that's why you can find them on the dollar bill. These were
Oh, I see. Ooh, wow. It's weird.
Yes.
Anyway, I'm so glad that they
Exactly.
created that fund for those who are suffering from the after effects of the, of the toxins, I guess. So
Well,
that's,
for the first, right, and Eric is saying, Mom, the sad part about that is when you start to think about the population that lived in New York City,
mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
and not only New York City, but all of the close, he's calling boroughs and cities and towns and that kind of stuff that surround New York City. He said, and so many people who live there who too are dying of cancer due to inhaling and breathing, who are not getting assistance. But it was all from that.
Oh, okay. Now there's a question as to whether one or both of the towers really went down because of the controlled demolition.
Okay, hold on. Okay, so he's showing me this image. I'm quite sure what the image is supposed to hold. Hang on. He's showing me this image of what you would call. Why are you showing me this? So he's making me feel like people feel like, and this might have something to do with the conspiracy theory, that we went in, that the government went in, and to assure that when the planes hit, it would cause the buildings to collapse. He said that's right. He says that's part of the conspiracy theory. So what he's showing me is he's showing me people running wires.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Setting, what I would have to say, setting explosives, right? Running wires and setting explosives. But he's also saying, no, that's what the conspiracy is, that's what we did. But he's saying, no, this is not what we did.
Well, why were they running wires? The
So
government.
what he's saying is he's showing me what the conspiracy theory says that happened.
Okay.
And he's telling me, no, that did not happen.
So the conspiracy theory is false, basically.
Yes, that's what he is saying.
Okay.
Now, I also get the feeling that somehow or another, with all the conspiracy theories that are out there, that somehow or another, governmental agencies were involved on some level.
Like
with
they
this.
knew that from the chatter that this could have happened,
Yes.
and they didn't do enough about it, I guess.
And what Erik is saying is 90% of that is because they were not, all the different agencies, governmental agencies, did not communicate with each other.
Oh gosh. Okay. Hmm.
And that's changed now.
Yeah. Good.
That's changed. That's one of the changes that have taken place since then.
And the
That,
TSA and all these
yeah.
things. Oh gosh. Thanks, Obama. I mean, Osama bin Laden. All right. So real quickly, what about the people that died that were on the airplanes themselves, or the passengers? They must have. What did they think? Did they think, "Wow, we're kind of flying low toward a building," or?
I just keep hearing rock and roll, so he must be here. There was one prominent character on that plane, and there were a lot of communications with loved ones from that plane.
Oh, okay.
Okay. And of course, fear, great fear.
Yeah.
But also, he's saying, he's also saying that there was a unity that came over everybody on that plane.
On all the planes, including the one that in the Pentagon, the one that crashed into a field that was probably headed for
in Washington.
Yeah.
I think that's the one that this guy was on.
Okay.
I'm not sure, but yeah. But a unity, they already knew about the other planes hitting the Twin Towers.
Mm.
So they knew they weren't going to survive. They knew they weren't going to survive.
They must have been so scared.
Yes.
Mm. And then
But also, he's also making me feel like, even though one, again, while being a human, can imagine all the emotions that we were all going through on that plane, because we were still very much human on that plane, a certain calmness came over us as well. He's saying it was almost as though they're giving me the sense of trumpets, almost like the sound of trumpets came into the fuselage. Is that what they call it?
Yeah.
That's the word he's using. Come in and just calmed everybody, just calmed everybody.
What was that from? Was it from the archangels or?
Even our captors, he's saying, even our captors. All he's saying is divinely and heavenly sent.
Okay. All right.
Again, he says, it's much like the other responders and other people. It's like, it's coming from an angelic realm of and higher self, of knowing that you are participating in an event far beyond your understanding at the moment, but you know that it has its purpose.
Okay. But obviously the people in all those airliners were probably snatched from their body before they suffered, right?
Yes.
Including the perpetrators.
Yes.
Okay, why is it that so many people think that the government rigged the buildings for explosion, for demolition? Why is that conspiracy theory even around?
Okay, hang on, let's see. He said this is being used as another tool, okay, from the darkness to cause separation, and he's going like this, to cause separation throughout the governmental and us as people, just very much like political views are created to cause division. Same thing, to cause division. So is this, we need our conspirators, because the conspirators are the ones that sets this into motion so that it can cause division. And all of that always comes, and they are being directed from that place that doesn't want to let go and let us be who we truly are being.
So it's not good to be. Why do we need conspirators then? if it causes division? Is that the
because of the light and the dark.
Okay, we need the
The light and
contrast.
the dark.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah.
Now,
So you have this entity still controlling the earth.
okay.
Okay, and they're slowly losing the battle. In
What do you
these
mean,
situations,
wait, what do you mean the entity?
the entity in the sense that the what do you call it? The dark government
Oh,
that
okay.
control us.
Oh,
That
yeah. The
that
shadow
entity,
government? Our shadow government?
shadow government, right?
Is it the
That's the
U.S.
shadow government.
United States shadow government? Or is it global?
No, it's bigger than that. It's
Okay.
a global.
Okay.
It's global, and they're starting to lose the battle. And one of the ways that they're starting to lose the battle is with Trump in office,
Yeah. Okay.
right?
Okay.
So
Yeah.
all of these,
It's all
what we
meant to
have
be.
here,
Yeah.
right? It's all what it's meant to be, but it's so much deeper than that. It's. He's telling me, Mom, it's like the Battle of the Bulge. It's
Yeah.
just
Okay.
we're knocking heads. We're knocking heads. The light is overpowering that which has controlled us for eons,
Oh, good.
and that which has controlled us from eons is really not from Earth.
Oh, wow. Aliens?
They're their descendants. They are the descendants of. Um,
An alien race?
I don't know who Anu is. ANU. I don't know who that is. But that's
Anunnaki?
what he.
Maybe Anunnaki? Something like that.
Yes,
Oh, wow.
yes, but there's more to it than that. He said that's another show.
Yeah. Okay.
Yeah,
Just
that's what he said.
really quickly, this guy who seems to be a conspirator is also saying that he thinks a Popeye missile was launched from a sub that hit the Pentagon instead of a plane, and wonders where that plane went anyway, because there was no plane there, he's saying.
Hmm.
And they said there was no plane that crashed in the field. It was a staged scene, as the huge mark of the ground was already present for years prior. Where is the airliner?
He said, Mom, there were pictures of the airliner hanging out of the building.
Okay, yeah, it seems
After,
like it. Yeah.
yeah,
Okay.
after the event. These are just conspiracy. Whether or not there was a what's he calling? He's calling it a tract of land
Okay.
that was showing marring before then. It had nothing to do with what happened.
All right. So basically, this guy is this is false. What he's suggesting.
It's conspiracy again.
Okay. Uh, did the first responders and all the people know that they have some time to realize that the buildings were collapsing on them?
Yes, they could hear them and feel it.
Oh gosh. All right. Also, how was it for the first responders to see the carnage? I mean, when people impacted the ground and things like that, it must have been so awful to see that. Or are you trained to?
It was absolutely. It was awful to see that, and to see the injured. He's saying seeing the injured coming down, because a lot of people who were going down the stairs where first responders were, a lot of them were severely injured because of impact that within their own offices and their own places. So a lot of those were injured as well. Yes, it was. It was. He said, this is Erik talking. He goes, Mom, just imagine yourself standing on the ground watching.
Oh, God. It just makes me feel sick.
Yes, it does. And here we are, as first responders, this guy is saying, here we are as first responders trying to detach ourselves from that.
Yeah, you can't just observe. You had to spring into action.
Exactly. But we're still human.
Yeah.
He said we were still human. So to see that was absolutely devastating. He says, but one thing he does say is that the majority of the people that visually saw that were our men that were lost as well.
Oh, yeah. And what about the people who came in afterwards to have to do the recovery efforts? That must have been just, horrific. And probably many of them, or maybe most of them, and the first responders and whoever witnessed anything, must have suffered from PTSD and maybe still do. They need probably a lot of
Yes.
help. Yeah.
Yes. He says yes. Many of those first responders have already died.
Okay.
And will continue to die, is what he's saying.
Yeah.
He says it's much like our men when they have to go into battle.
Yeah, exactly.
Our men, right, because that's what it was. It was a war. It was basically, that's what it was. It was a war.
It's a battlefield.
Right.
All right. Sorry. I got two quick
and
questions.
very difficult. He's a very, very difficult for the first responders to participate visually and emotionally in an event like this.
Oh God, yeah.
As you can imagine.
Oh yeah. All right. So this one woman, she lost her brother-in-law, Chief Battalion Thomas DeAngelis. She wants, I guess, a message from him.
DeAngelis or D'Angelo?
DeAngelis, DeAngelis.
What's his first name again?
Oh, Tommy, Chief Battalion, Tommy.
Okay, Tommy. Okay, this is his mother, right?
No, that's brother. Tommy is her brother-in-law.
Okay, the brother-in-law? Okay. Because I'm hearing something about mother.
Oh, maybe the mother wants to know too. I don't know. But anyway, just any message from him, just real briefly, because I want to ask one last question.
Okay. So what he's saying is he's saying something about telling mother that I'm fine, that I'm happy, that I'm working.
What kind of work?
He says, we as first responders, a large majority of us are the angels that are wrapped around those first responders here and now.
Good.
Okay. We do a lot of protection, guidance,
healing, I hope, for those
keeping those out of harm's way. He said no, most of his brothers and sisters from that time are no longer working in the field, right? These are for the young folks that are coming in.
I see.
He said we also work with the young folks who are considering, we're nudging. They nudge certain people to go into that field.
Mm.
And he said that, and I found this when I was doing the channeling with Renee too, that many of them work in that field. He's showing me like going into a burning building, and guiding them in which way to go.
Oh, good.
In the building.
Good.
Through intuition and instinct. He says you can imagine going into a building and not knowing whether to go left or right, where to find who it is they're looking for.
Yeah. So
that's how they work. Right. They did very much guide them. I feel like he had, I don't know.
Well, let's go on because we got 1 minute, and I want to give information.
All right, go ahead.
Whoever submitted this can certainly call in to the radio show or make a session with you, etc. All right, this lady has a 13-year-old who is obsessed with 9/11, probably since the age of 7 or 8. He recently found out that it's because his spirit guide, Daniel, passed away on that day. He was apparently an office worker, but they don't know much detail. I guess really quickly, does Daniel have a message for her son? And then that's it.
Daniel is saying, yes, this child will go into Into the field. That's what he's there for. He's going to go into the field.
Well, there's a lot of fields. It could be a doctor, it could be a paramedic, it could be a fireman, a police officer.
I feel like, right, I feel like he's talking about he's going to go into, he's going to be a fire person to go into that field. And I also feel like, he's an incarnate of Daniel himself, who has lost.
Oh, okay.
Okay.
All right.
And that's why he's got this overwhelming interest in this field. And this is because he's a fractal of Daniel.
Wow. Okay, that's interesting because 2001. Okay, 13 years. Yeah. So yeah, that's certainly possible. All right, and he'll guide him. Daniel, his higher self or whatever, will guide him if he does do that career. All right. Thank you, everybody, for your sacrifice for humanity. Thank you, Erik, for guiding us along with this too. I love you. Linda, thank you for this. And I would like you to share your information or anything else.
Okay. It's my website is channelingbylindalee.com. Makes it really easy. And on there you can go in there and find what services that I offer. And I have 2 Facebook groups. One is Florida Mediums and More on Facebook, and the other one is Light Language by Linda Lee Facebook group. You can go in there and connect with all the other people who are in there and sharing their light language. And we also have an upcoming event in August in Fort Lauderdale, Florida. That's available on my page. You can go in there and read all about it, read everything that we're going to be doing and how much fun it's going to be. So hopefully I look forward to seeing some of you there. And that's about it. Thank you for allowing me to be here.
And thank you. And guys, if you have not already watched her, our YouTube, Light Language by Linda Lee, you must just do a search for it. All right. Bye, everybody. Love you.
Yes. Love you too. Bye-bye.
Bye.